Hi friends, my name is Catherine. I'm the creator of Educate, and I love to provide content and information for those that are starting newborn photography. And this video is actually going to be entirely focused on studio light. So I'm just going to cover a few things to help you get started, and I hope that you stick around till the end of the video because I am going to give you this instruction put into a PDF, and that's how you're going to find out how to get that PDF. Is stick around to the end. So there are several different lighting units on the market, and it's really hard to know, what's worth investing in. And because Amazon exists, Amazon wasn't a thing when I first started. It was really hard to know what brand to get and what to really put your money into. So don't just go for the cheapest kit on Amazon. You definitely want to make sure that you get something that is you're able to control the power of the light. So if it's too strong, what's going to happen is you're going to blow out the skin of the baby. And newborn skin is really challenging to begin with. So you want to make sure that you get the right lighting. Now, it's not just about power, it's also about color quality. And so the brands that I have listed here have been proven to be very wonderful with newborn photography. So I personally don't have the Godox or the Westcott, but I do have a lot of students that have it and they love it, and the color quality is gorgeous. And these ones are newer options. So they offer cordless, which is awesome because then you don't have to worry about cords around your studio, but they are rechargeable. So the first one is Godox, and it's a Godox AD400 or a Godox AD600. Now these are a strobe, so what that means is they're going to have a model lamp that stays on so that you can get focus with your camera of the baby. And then when you go to click the shutter, it's going to fire. And then it's going to sync to your camera. So it's important to understand the difference. So with a strobe, it's going to flash. And with continuous light, it's light that just stays on all the time. Okay, so this continuous light option is really great for videographers, but also this one specifically is really great for newborn photographers. I have a student that I mentored and she had this light and I absolutely loved it. And I definitely can recommend it because I've used it myself. And this one is a continuous light, so you don't have to worry about the flashes. Now the Westcott is also a newer light option, and it also is cordless. And the color quality is gorgeous. And this is really important because when it comes to editing, if it is throwing off all sorts of colors, it becomes an editing nightmare. And that's what you want to avoid. So all of these options are under $1,000. And that's for the lighting unit itself. And then you have to tack on triggers and soft boxes and a studio light stand. So we'll get to that in a minute. So I just wanted to mention down here that you want to make sure that whatever light that you decide to go with, that you buy triggers of the same brand. So what that is it's something that goes on top of your camera, and then something that either is automatically connected wirelessly to your lighting unit, or it has something that plugs into your lighting unit and it's going to tell the camera, and the camera is going to talk to the light, and it's going to be a transmitter and a receiver so that it tells your light when to flash. So I hope that wasn't complicated, but you're going to need triggers when you buy studio lights. Okay, so let's just talk about modifiers. So light modifiers are what is going to diffuse the light, and you're not going to want just the light unit. You're going to need to get a modifier. So whether that is a PLM, which is a parabolic light modifier, I think that's what it stands for, I can't remember, but we just call it a PLM. So it's a big umbrella, essentially, is what it is. And then we have soft boxes, so those are square or rectangular, and then we have the octo boxes, which have the 8 sides. Okay, so when we think about different light modifiers, you can get a white umbrella that's fully light. And what happens is when you're shooting with newborns, you're not going to shoot through the umbrella. You want to bounce the light. And with a white umbrella, the light is going to just spill everywhere. So if you want a light, airy look, then that is what you want, is a white umbrella. If you want more directional, defined lighting, you're going to want to get the umbrella with the black on the back of it, the white on the inside, and then a white diffusion fabric. Okay. Now let's just talk about size. Size is important. You don't want to get too small. The smaller it is, the harsher the shadows are. So if you want soft really beautiful lighting, you want to think bigger, okay? Bigger is better. I would not go below 50 inches. In fact, 50 inches to me, if you're using an umbrella, is too small. I would definitely stick to a 64-inch or go bigger. Okay, so the shape, what does the shape have to do with it? It really only matters catch lights. So if your eyes are open, the little light that shows in the eyes, it's the shape that really is all the difference. It's not a big enough reason to choose a softbox over an umbrella unless you just like the look of a softbox better. Everyone has their own opinions. The more you play with different things, the more you're going to like it. Or know what you're going to like better the more you play. But I just want to point out also that if you're a mobile photographer, stick to an umbrella because they're lighter, they're easier to travel with, and they fold right into like a pouch and they're really small. So definitely stick to that. Okay, so the position of the light modifier should be low to the ground, and the center of the light modifier should be either at eye level or slightly above. Okay, so if I'm looking this way, we want the direction to be like this. Okay, we wouldn't want it to point up at me, but we would want it to point down to me. Okay, and how you do that is by tilting the light. So the light isn't going to be straight up and down, but it's going to be on a tilt. Okay, and it's important to have it set to 45-degree angles just so that you're getting nice coverage over the face and you're still getting that nice definition. Just remember too, the closer the light, the softer the shadows. So this is what the umbrellas look like in case you're wondering what a PLM is. So I just showed you, like this one even has the cost. It's very affordable. And then you want to get the diffusion fabric on the front and get the black cover to go on the back. And that way the light is directionally, it's stronger and it's going to be in one direction versus spillage and all over the room. Now, this is a very affordable light stand. Just Google this. It's from B&H, and I think it's around $80 US or something like that. I've had mine for like 10 years, and it's in perfect condition still. Very good quality light. If you want to get into a heavier duty light stand with wheels on it, then you'll just have to Google that. So this is me. This is who I am. My name is Catherine. I go by Kat, and I'm a newborn photographer. I've been doing newborn photography for over 13 years. And I just really love helping others. I am a very hands-on educator. I love being able to help you reach your goals and figure out exactly what you need so that you can reach those goals. So a really big part of newborn photography is lighting. And until I really nailed my lighting, and it took a lot of work, it was really hard to get to the point that I'm at now. So I really want to make it as easy to understand as possible and give you those light bulb moments so that you don't struggle with lighting and studio lighting as much as I did. And it really is true. If you master the light, you're going to master the rest of it. So I just wanted to throw that out there. If you are interested in taking my lighting tutorial, here's a coupon code for 50% off, and it's LearnLight50. And I will link the link for that course in the description of this video. So it's going to make it about $50. But let's keep going. So I'm just going to talk about newborn bed posing. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out where to put this camera. So the first thing that you want to think about when you're setting up your studio light is to make sure that the umbrella is closer to the ground. You don't want it to be super high because you don't want the distance to be super far between the baby and the light unit, okay? And you also want the center of the light unit that you're using, so the center of the umbrella or the center of the softbox, to line up with the baby, okay? So you don't want to feather the lighting necessarily because then you have less control over it. And I know that there's a lot of information out there, but if you like the work that I produce, then this is what I do. So I'm just explaining to you what I do exactly, okay? And this gives you the most control over the lighting. So making sure that you have the centers line up, center of the baby's, like center of the baby's face to the center of the light unit, okay? And you also want it to be slightly above. And also, again, making sure that you tilt that light unit so that you're getting beautiful flow across the face. Okay, so this is just a little blurb to tell you about the settings for your lighting. So if you want to have that blurry background, so that bokeh look on your pictures, then you're going to want to shoot at f2. and it's going to be nice wide open. If you're wondering about the lens that I either use a 50mm or a 35mm, and I like to shoot nice and wide open when I'm photographing newborns on the posing bed. When I do that, I make sure that I have my power all the way down on my lighting unit, and I use the Einstein. And I also have my ISO super low, so at 100. Now, I don't find that I blow out the pixels with the way that I work, so I wouldn't worry about having 2 or 3 different diffusion fabrics on the front of your umbrella, but lots of people do, so if that's something you like to do, then go for it. There's nothing wrong with that. If you want to shoot at a higher f-stop, like f4, then you're just going to make sure that you have to increase the power on your lighting unit a little bit to compensate for that f-stop, okay? And you also will probably have to increase your ISO. Okay, let's move this over here. So here's a little diagram to show you where the shadows need to be on the baby's face. So this is a front view. So if you look right here, the little shadow is right next to the bridge of the nose and then right next to the nostril. And then there's a shadow on the side of the face here. Okay, so that's how you know that you're getting the right type of shadowing. So you're going to get that little bit of shadow right here around the nose, a little bit right here, and then right a little bit along the line of the face. And this is the view from above. So it's hard to tell exactly where the umbrella placement is when you're looking straight on, but if you're looking from above, you can see that the umbrella is at a 45-degree angle, spreading across the baby's face and across the fabric. And as you can see, the light is hitting the baby's face as well. It's not just hitting the forehead, the light is flowing across the face and the body to create that look. So this is just showing you a little bit closer. So, oh, I accidentally didn't add the little moon right here, but this is really important. You want that little moon right here, and then right here. Okay, so just make sure that that is not missed. Okay, so when we go to the prop posing, this is just a demonstration, or not a demonstration, but a diagram, just to give you an idea of the height of the umbrella. So you want to just make sure that it's higher than the baby's face, but the center of it is lining up with the center of the baby. Okay, now ideally, what you would want to see is that the position of the baby is more like this. Okay, so it's hard to see from the other side, but the umbrella is at a 45-degree position and the baby in the bucket is in the same position like this, but it's in a basket. It's a little bit harder to do a diagram of this, but you do want to make sure that the umbrella is not super high. You want it to be low enough to the ground and the center of the umbrella flowing across the face. Okay, so let's talk about parent posing. So when you are photographing several different people, they're going to be, different heights. They might not be exactly on the same plane of depth of field. Okay, they might not be on the same depth of field. So you're going to want to have a higher f-stop, like at least f4. If you're going to have 3 people or 4 people in front of your camera, especially with studio photography, you have the control of the light. So why not use a higher f-stop? So what I have been doing is I actually shoot my families now at either f5.6 or f6.3. And that's kind of what I do, because that way everybody is tack sharp, and then because of that I have to crank up my lighting on my unit, my light. I have to crank the power up to compensate for that higher f-stop, and then I might even need to increase my ISO to like 300 or 400. So don't be afraid of ISO either. You have control over the power of your light, so just take advantage of it and make sure that everyone is nice and sharp. So as you can see, again, we want to have the center of the umbrella over and angled down towards them, okay? So we want to have it tilted, and we want their faces, making sure that the light is flowing across their face. We don't want the light hitting them from only one side. We want to make sure that it's from 45-degree angle and flowing across the face. And we definitely do not want to have uplighting. So if the light is too low and not angled properly or not tilted properly, it could even create like an uplighting effect if you don't have it in the right position. So as you can see, the backdrop is here. Your clients are here. I mean, this is not 100% accurate proportions, but let's just say that the light is around this area. We don't want them super close to the backdrop either. But this is how it's working basically. The light is flowing across their faces, and the light is not really 100% flowing onto the seamless paper. It might, but what happens is the closer you have them to the fabric or the seamless paper, the harsher the shadows are going to be as well. And another trick to think about is to make sure that the paper is not folded flat and then like an L shape. You want it to be like a nice swoop, a nice curve like this arrow here. Okay, so that's just something to keep in mind. And I just want to go back here and just point out that, oh, we missed that. Shh, shh, shh. So I just wanted to point out too that a rule of thumb is if you add more people, so let's say you have like 5 people, then just bump up another f-stop. So like 5. And if you have 6 people, then, you know, go up to f6.3. So just kind of think of it that way, but always make sure that you're upping your light power and that you're upping your ISO. Okay, so just something to bring out. Okay, so I don't know why it missed this one, but this is just the view from the top. So as you can see, the center of the light is centered to their faces, and that gives you the control and to make sure that it's higher and tilted so that it's flowing down their faces. So just like that. So this is a view from the front, and this is another view from the side. Okay, so this is a little bonus information. So you might be wondering, okay, well, how do I know how to set the exposure on my camera to get proper lighting? Well, when you look at the histogram on your camera after you take a picture, unless you're using a light meter, you're not going to get an accurate way to meter your light with your camera. So unless you're using a studio light meter, I just recommend that you do this. So I just use the histogram on my camera, and if you click on the info button a couple times, it's going to bring up your histogram in relation to the picture you've just taken. And so what happens is when you look at the histogram and it's climbing up the left, it means that it's underexposed. Okay. If it's climbing up the right side, it means that it's overexposed. But if it's in the middle where it's not 100% touching the right side, then that means that it's perfect exposure. Okay, so it doesn't always have to look like this perfect mountain peak in the middle. It can more lean to the right side, because if you're taking a picture of white fabric or white things, it's going to also climb more up the right side. But the point is you don't want it to touch this line on the right side of the histogram, okay? Because when it touches, that means that it's overexposed. So this is underexposed because it's climbing up the left. This is underexposed, this is overexposed because it's climbing up the right, and this is perfect exposure because it's not touching the right side. Okay, so I just wanted to mention that remember that it's not just about where the light is set up, it's also how the light falls across the baby's face. So if you don't see the correct lighting placement, you most likely need to reposition your baby. So basically move the pose so that the lighting has that perfect placement, or you can move the light, really. It's totally in your control. So you want to master the light, and then you're going to master everything. So if you would like more help with your studio lighting, please check out my lighting tutorial class. It's for a special price, like I mentioned earlier. It's 50% off, making it only $50. And you can find it in the link that I'm going to put in the description below this video. Okay, thanks for following me. I hope that you follow me on social media. I have a Facebook group that is free for everyone to join. Just search up Mom Talk Educate. You can also grab all the direct links from the PDF that I'm going to be giving you guys. And thank you so much for tuning in.